Produced by Podcast Architects.
Welcome back to another episode of The Path Forward. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Rick Fernandez, and we're coming to you from the home of Eric Dickerson in Sealy ISD. And I have three guests with me today, so I want to welcome Dr. Brian Hallmark, Superintendent of Sealy ISD.
Thanks for having us on.
You got it. I also want to welcome our teacher-to-be, Hannah Gibson. Hannah, welcome.
Hi, hello.
And a very special guest, the president of Hartwell University, Matthew Flippin. Welcome.
Hello. Good to see you.
So let's jump right in. Semester's almost done. Dr. Hallmark, tell me a little bit about the first half of the year. Some of the things that have been going on, some excitement, anything you want to share from the first half.
So we've had a great first semester, and I think some of it is just like catch your breath because, knock on wood, we have had no COVID issues this year, and like you forget what it's like to do school without a pandemic affecting everything you do.
So I gotta stop you there because are you a baseball fan? You never talk about the no-hitter during the no-hitter. You let it keep going so you don't jinx the good vibe that you've had so far. But that's awesome that you guys have really had a good start without the onset of COVID. What else is going on?
Well, we got a lot of exciting things going on. It's been a very successful year for our students, our student athletes, and our students who are performers. You know, this last weekend we had our FFA, actually went to the state competition, and all 22 people that qualify for state actually placed in the state competition in the top 10. Wow. And so lots of success stories like that.
Very nice. And in terms of your staff, anything that you want to point out or give a shout out for your staff and how they performed this first semester?
I think the thing is just what I appreciate most about our staff is they love kids. And our focus this year has been on engagement and like how do we know our kids at a deeper level and how do we know our content at a deeper level. And I think our staff has really dug in and done a great job with that. And I think the experiences our kids have in our classrooms because of that are second to none. That's
outstanding. And the engagement, I know, is a huge piece. Not only for your students, but for your staff. So as the leader of the district, when you're thinking about your next crop of teachers or teachers that you want to keep or teachers that you need to recruit, what are some of the challenges, not just for Sealy, but some of the things that you're seeing across the state in terms of teacher shortages?
I think the teacher shortage is a huge challenge. You know, when you look at the last 2 years, if you have an opening, you're lucky if you have one or two applicants where 4 or 5 years ago, that wasn't the case. You might be choosing between, 10 applicants.
Right.
And so that's changed tremendously. And so there's not as many applicants out there. There's not as many people going into the field of education. And then we have a challenge here that's kind of unique because we're not very far away from Houston. And, Katie's a 20-minute drive from here. And we have to do things here to keep people wanting to be in Sealy because we can't keep up in terms of payment and benefits like the big Houston area districts. And so it's a challenge for us. We get teachers. We have a great, I think we do a fantastic job mentoring brand new teachers, getting them ready. We have a 3-year teacher development program. And man, when someone leaves us and we've poured that into them, and it happens a lot.
Sure.
And so that's a challenge for us too. Like, how do we keep great people in this district? How do you find great people? How do you keep them here?
Well, one of the reasons we're all here today is to talk about specifically an innovative relationship that you have along with Hartwell. And Hannah, our teacher-to-be, is an example of that. So I want to talk a little bit about the partnership and what exactly it is. So I'm going to kick it over to Matt. So Matt, what's the vision, the mission of Hartwell?
Well, simply stated, I mean, the vision is that we would fill every potential teacher vacancy with competent, compassionate educators that really care about kids and are highly qualified.
What's your why? Why do this? And there's a lot of need out there. Why does this role or this endeavor? Why is it your passion?
Sure. Yeah. No. I mean, it really goes back to why we started Hartwell University, and it really comes from a heart for children that are from under-resourced communities. That when we did some research and talked to a lot of superintendents really all over the country and heard that there was this growing teacher shortage and this concern, seeing that that was the most challenging in under-resourced communities, and thinking about children that are coming from tough environments, but that they may walk into a school system where they're educated by an underqualified staff for a majority of their time in K-12. How can we expect these children to thrive in that environment? And so it was with this desire to solve that challenge in a way that was really a win for the school system, ultimately a win for the paraprofessional, teacher's assistant, non-certified staff that we believe are the ideal candidates to solve that problem. And then, in the long run, the win for the children that are in those classrooms with those highly qualified teachers.
Okay. So you bring up a lot of points, and I want to dive a little bit deeper on what exactly is the program or the process. And Matt, I'll kick this to you. Like, you talked about the ideal candidate. How does it work with relationship to Sealy ISD and other school districts you guys are serving?
Sure. Yeah, no, that's great. That's a great question, Rick. Thanks for this opportunity. And Brian, just thank you for all you're doing. And Hannah, just love getting to meet you and know that you are going to be an educator. You already are an educator in some regards for sure. So, Hartwell is a bachelor's degree in transformational Christian education. And so it's a full 120-hour credit program, designed specifically as an online, affordable option for non-certified staff. We believe in the model of residency, but we also know that that model is very expensive. So we designed a program that is fully online and fully a residency style program where our students, who are mainly non-certified staff, will take courses and then be able to implement things they're learning in their everyday job for the entire up to 4 years that they're in the program with us.
Okay. And Dr. Hallmark, why does this make sense in this time for Sealy ISD?
I think it goes back to, the teacher shortage was the obvious, that's the obvious answer. But I think you also look at how many talented people we have in this district that serve in paraprofessional roles that we're like, man, if we could get them a certification, they would be a phenomenal teacher. And the only thing holding them back is an opportunity. And a lot of times when you talk to people, it's about time. The resources of time or money prevent people from getting that college education. And I think Hartwell has removed the barriers of the two biggest challenges for someone to get a college education. And that's what drew us to the program.
So let's talk to our guest of honor, our teacher to be. So Miss Hannah, why did this program make sense for you?
I would say when I started my college journey, I was definitely looking for the quickest option to get out because I loved high school and I love education, but I graduated in the pandemic. So everything being online was kind of overwhelming to me. And so I tried a lot of different routes and I still wasn't happy with what I was learning. And so I found Hartwell on a whim. I came up here to see some of my old teachers, and they told me about the program. And I was like, that sounds interesting. And I can get a 4-year degree in 2 years. The workload isn't hard. I'm only taking 2 classes every 8 weeks. So I was like, why not give it a try? And I think it's I've gotten a lot out of it, and I've only been in 3 classes so far, and I really enjoy it.
So we were talking a little bit off air, and you graduated from Sealy ISD.
I did,
right?
yes.
So talk to us a little bit about the decision to stay home and give back to the community with which you were raised and and when you graduated.
Well, I first will say when I graduated, I swore that I was not coming back. Sealy is a great school district. I was just kind of over the small town feel of everything. And so I went to Blinn my first year in Brenham, and I moved out and I tried that, and I was just like, no, I don't like this. This is ridiculous. Rent was expensive. I didn't have a job that I liked. Like I said, my classes weren't something that I was interested in. And so I decided to come back and give back to the community because I was so involved when I was in high school. I did theater, choir. I did a lot. I was a part of like student council and all that. And so I just spent so much time at that school and I made so many memories, and I became like friends with my teachers, if that makes sense. And so like working with them now, it's amazing because I get to see like both sides of the coin.
So I was just going to ask you, so do you see a little bit of their job? Do you get a vision into what their process is every day, some of the things that they're having to take in consideration? And so there's probably times as a student, you're like, what's the big deal? I mean,
Absolutely.
you get your lesson plans and you teach, right? But
Yeah.
how has it changed your perspective on teaching in general?
I would think I was a pretty good student in high school. I didn't cause trouble or anything, but I had friends that would cause trouble. And like, I see like the passion that teachers put into their job. And so it's made me appreciate like how well behaved I was. My parents did an awesome job raising me, but like it allows me to see how much like blood, sweat, and tears go into teaching. And I've really appreciated that.
That's awesome. And you do have a couple of teachers that really mentored you and kind of breathed life into this idea of a career of teaching. Do you want to give them a quick shout out?
Sure. Miss Goad, Val Goad, Stephanie Novitsky, and Terry Pa.
Very nice. Well, congratulations to you, and thank you to them for giving us another teacher for our students of the future.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So we're going to change gears just a bit because this show is based on innovation, right? And so we've got an innovative partnership here. I want to open it up to talk a little bit about what are some other opportunities for us to innovate in terms of retaining staff, recruiting staff, or just the possibility of furthering a pipeline. So, and Dr. Hallmark, I want to throw this one to you. So you spent some time in Georgetown, great district. You've had the opportunity to probably talk to other superintendents around the state. Are there any innovative approaches that you've seen, heard about, that may make sense in the future or that have just piqued your interest in terms of staff retention?
I think the things that I've talked to superintendents about recently, and there's no one that's a long way into this process, but what you hear people talking about is growing their own.
Yep.
How do we get great kids to choose to call this community home and be a part of our district? And that's a win-win for everyone, because these kids, they're great kids, that they're going to be unbelievable professionals and they're passionate about education and all those things. And it's like, how can we take a group that we have now and ignite that passion for education in them and help them pursue that as a career field?
So is it safe to say there may be in the future sometime some grow your own type of cohorts in Sealy ISD if it gets to the point where, hey, that's a viable option and we've got the teachers and staff to do that?
I think without a doubt. I mean, I think about, what Hartwell has to offer, for example. And if I had a kid who was coming to me right now and saying, hey, I want to go into education,
Yep.
I would definitely say, hey, consider being a paraprofessional for us while you work on your degree through Hartwell.
And now, Matt, I'm going to kick this over to you for your perspective. So I know you work with a lot of districts across the state. Are you seeing kind of a trend change to where we're spending a lot of resources to go outwardly to job fairs or across the country to more of, hey, what do we do internally, or who can we partner with internally to do, like Dr. Hallmark said, have a grow your own type of system in place?
Sure.
Are you seeing a little bit of that more heavily?
Well, I think the challenge has been that the previous approach of going to job fairs that they're seeing not as many candidates show up at those, and so this reduced supply or reduced interest in teachers coming to the field, either entering college programs to earn their degrees in education or career changers looking at teaching as an alternative has declined. And so I do think that grow your own makes sense, right? There's a lot of data that says that educators that have 5 or 6 years of experience tend to stay in the field of education for their careers. Well, most non-certified staff, I think the average tenure is 6 years, and so they've already crossed this threshold that makes sense for them to be a great investment candidate for a district that's looking to, get the maximum return. I think for high school students that are looking at, what careers they want to pursue, that is going to be most effective when they've got great relationships with existing staff. So it really means that you've got to have a culture on those high school campuses that is extremely relational. And we hear that about Sealy. I mean, look at Hannah highlight three teachers that poured into her, and that's just a short list. I think there's probably many more. And that makes such a big difference. I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about a community like Sealy, where you do have deep relationships, you do have this connection to the community. So I think we will see more and more schools look at grow your own, starting at the high school level, as the most viable solution to the teacher turnover, teacher shortage challenge.
Hannah, from your perspective, what do school districts need to do to get the next group interested? So if you have your high school classmates, right, let's say starting in ninth grade, because you got to really start early, as you well know. What are some things that school districts might consider in terms of growing their own as this moves forward?
I think if they highlight the defining benefits of going through a program like Hartwell, it's affordable. It's even it's cheaper if you work at a school and pursue your degree. Kind of just you're when you're 18, you're at that point where you want to soar and do your own thing, but you still want a sense of security. And so being in a school district that raised you up and helped you and seeing familiar faces, I think that'll help a lot. Because I've had students come into my office and seniors, and they're just I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. College is so expensive and this, that, and everything. Mm-hmm. And I tell them about the Hartwell program, and they start looking at it, and they're like, oh, I can work here as soon as I graduate. And I'm like, yeah, you can work here and get your degree. And even if you don't want to teach, you still have a degree at the end of it. And I think just factors like that really get students wanting to engage.
So you bring up a great point about students not knowing what they want to do. Well, here's a secret. Well, not a well-kept one, but a lot of adults don't know what we want to do. You get to a place in college where you're unsure. Mm-hmm. Many of us graduate and we're like, okay, now what, right? Yeah. So that's a common feeling, a common thought that we probably all have gone through. And it is great to have your school, particularly your high school, start to foster, all right, what am I good at? What do I love? Who's here to help and mentor me to get to that career path that I want to? And so I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to. Anytime somebody says that I want to put you on the spot, it means they're about to put you on the spot. Exactly. To a prospective teacher out there, why Sealy ISD? Why come work here?
Oh, man. This school district is just it's like a family. And I feel every day I come to work. It's not work. It's more of a family reunion kind of thing. Mm. The administrators are so appreciative and supportive of everything that you do. And I haven't met a teacher that I just can't stand. I just, or I haven't met anyone from Sealy ISD that I just can't get along with. It's very much a family feeling. It just, you feel the love everywhere you go.
Do you feel like that's helped you progress in your chosen career path?
Absolutely, because I have Mondays are hard. And just knowing that I get to work with amazing people motivates me to go to work.
I want to play a quick little game. Could you, up to a certain amount, pay for staff's streaming services on a yearly basis? Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, as a part of a mini incentive? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Hannah? Yes? Okay. Could you put together some type of points reward, similar to a hotel or an airline, where if a teacher, based on either attendance or maybe student performance, at the end of the year there was some type of either travel award, vacation award, something to their family as an incentive at the end of the year? Could you do that, build some type of reward system to lead to a family vacation for staff members? Like that one? Okay, I thought that one wasn't bad either. Okay, Could you find a way to cover the cost of all staff and faculty lunch, plus provide a take-home option for staff at a reduced cost at the end of the day? So their lunch is covered, and if they had to work, busy, you got kids going everywhere, there's a prepackaged, pop it in the oven type of meal for a family of 4. Is that a viable option for staff as opposed to, the more costly options?
Take home dinner.
Take home dinner. So you would cover their lunch in the cafeteria, right? Different quality. No, I'm joking. Cover their lunch. And then a prepackaged at reduced cost for a dinner so they could take with them on the way home.
Interesting.
I'd give it a thumbs up.
You like that
It's
one?
actually, Anna said no.
No.
Yeah.
I just think people are picky,
They are picky.
So
They are.
you'd waste a lot of money. I
Oh,
feel like.
okay.
And you have to be careful that your incentive doesn't become an expectation.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
course.
true.
eventually it loses its
Absolutely.
benefit.
Absolutely. What about, could you cover the cost of gas for staff? Which we do kind of anyway, but beyond just your service miles if you're traveling for work. But if there was some type of incentive where, all right, we can cover gas mileage up to this set amount for staff members. Would that be a viable option?
Absolutely. Yes.
There,
know.
there are actually some districts around here that during the gas going up so high over the past year that they had a program where if gas was above $4 a gallon, that they would give you a $50 a month allotment. So,
Really?
So people have done
There you go.
Pretty cool idea.
I like that
That
one.
is a good idea. Yeah.
All right, the last one I got.
Mm-hmm.
Could you have some type of reward program for sports or theater or events that staff would like to go to? So, obviously we're close to Houston, so Astros games or Texans games, Rockets games, or university games. Is there some type of program that we could work with? And I know that we do kind of a one-offs with baseball and football, but collectively for all staff, is there some type of reward program that we could work with our sports organizations to the benefit of staff?
Yeah, probably.
If I get tickets to an Astros game,
You're there?
I'm there.
What about Texans?
No, just the Astros.
You may have to wait a little while for the Texans.
They're going to be back. I'm telling you.
Does anybody have any ones they want to throw out there as we're playing this little game?
I think about like Wi-Fi hotspots. I don't know how accessible internet is in the community, but that as a possible solution. I know that that's been important for paraprofessionals in our program in a lot of communities that their districts have, provided those. Sometimes even the Google Chromebooks or other devices that they can use to access.
Oh yeah, like
access from
providing
home.
Electronics. Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
I wish there was a way that we could figure out some way to help with housing. In little communities, sometimes that's an issue because we have, we have young adults who have just graduated that are coming to work and it's hard to get going. And it's way harder to get going now financially than it was when I got going.
There is no doubt that the cost of living has gone up exponentially, particularly within the last 2 years. And there are a lot of districts that are trying to utilize staff housing. Austin ISD, one example, but there's been a lot of smaller districts in the valley that have done that, have had some affordable housing and built it just for their staff as they're trying to retain and attract students. And I know across the country, we work with school districts that are doing that everywhere. Obviously in some of the remote places, Alaska and some other places that are hard to reach, they have to do that as a part of their package. So people are getting very creative and innovative because we kind of see the writing on the wall. We're locked into the budgets that we have based on our funding formula. We've got to be innovative with our partnerships and our thinking to be able to retain staff. So, kudos to Sealy ISD, to you, Dr. Hallmark, and your staff for starting that journey. And then congratulations to Hannah as you continue your journey. And then I want to thank, Matt for being that partner that when we're needing options, viable options, cost-effective options for our staff that are already working their tails off for our students, being an option and a resource that's going to help us get to that point where hopefully staffing isn't a lingering issue for most school districts. As a part of the program, I mean, obviously Hannah's going to graduate and go on to be a successful teacher, but what does it mean for the community to have an option to go get a degree? How is that changing?
I think it's a game changer, and I think it changes families. You know, we have 22 people enrolled in Hartwell right now, and if that's 22 people in our community that don't have college degrees, they're going to have that, and then get paid based on that college degree. That's going to change the trajectory of their family potentially for generations to come, and that's, you know, I think for us to be able to do that for our community is amazing.
That's a very interesting take, and I hadn't considered the power of that, right? Because we know that when students have parents that have gone to college, they're more likely to go and to finish college and change the trajectory of not only their path, but the future generations, like you stated. So that's a huge benefit, and thank you for sharing that. I did not consider that piece of it. You're not only changing the immediate, but also the future for your kids and for Sealy ISD. It's a great point.
And teachers produce teachers.
Yes.
You know, if you've been an educator, you're more likely for your children to follow in those footsteps.
Absolutely. Continue the line of great teaching, great learning, but also great community and impact.
Yeah, it's a heart for service that ends up getting passed down. I mean, you see your parents giving back in a real selfless way, and you realize that your career can be more about others.
Sure.
And you want to continue in that line of service.
Absolutely.
Hannah, tell us a little bit about your classmates in Hartwell. What type of experiences are y'all sharing? What's the camaraderie like as you go through this?
I would say a lot of the coursework that we do requires us to converse with each other or talk to each other. We do a lot of like discussion board assignments, and it gets pretty personal because Hartwell is a Christian-centered university. And so a lot of the times these people are coming from various backgrounds. We have single parents, children that are products of divorce. And so they have all different kinds of backgrounds and stories.
Sure.
And we're encouraged to like pray for them or speak words of encouragement to them. And that's like one of my favorite things to do because I love encouraging people. And so to read some of their stories like day after day, it's really, it's refreshing to know that my words of encouragement might be able to help them in their situation.
So what you said is they mirror the students that we receive in our classes, really.
Exactly.
They got diverse backgrounds.
Yeah.
They all have barriers of some sort, and it's our role to figure out how to encourage them and teach them. So that's a great point there. And Matt, I'm going to ask your perspective on what you're seeing also in the cohorts and how the students are progressing.
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Hannah. You're such a beautiful person. So
Thank you.
What a privilege to get to be with you today. You know, when we were building Hartwell and wanted to target as our ideal student, the paraprofessional, non-certified staff, we uncovered that roughly 70% of that population are single parents. Mm-hmm. And so we thought, you know, there are some really important things that we need to build into our program to encourage and support them. This relational connectivity online is a real indicator of retention, you know, so that we're seeing a 93% retention rate in our students term after term is really important. You know, the other thing that we identified through survey is that 95% of non-certified staff want to become educators. And so we knew that if we could address these barriers of time and money, that we would be able to attract them. We missed one barrier that we later identified, which Hannah does not have, I don't see, but it is the self-doubt barrier. A lot of our students have stories or experience that they've gone through that cause them to think that they aren't worthy of it or don't deserve it or can't do it. And so when we partner with the district, one of the key elements of that partnership is the nomination of people that the district sees having the potential of being great teachers. And nominating someone and saying, hey, Hannah, I see in you the potential to be a great teacher, really helps overcome that story and starts to write a new story on that student's life that, yes, I can not only can I be a great teacher, I can use my story, the hard experiences I've been through, to help encourage students, K-12 students that might be going through something similar, so that they can overcome that in their own lives.
That's excellent. And Hannah, that's a great perspective to have, is just learning from those diverse experiences that you're getting through your classmates. Dr. Hallmark, I want to give you the last word. Why Sealy ISD?
And I'm going to tell you what, I don't know. I think they put something in the water here. I really do. And I know people say that about, wherever they work, but
Right.
This is a special, special community. And I don't have enough time to even talk
But
about.
we were talking about your own children thriving in this community.
Absolutely. Like, I came from a bigger district. I grew up in a small town, and like us coming here and my own children to be able to have the opportunities to participate in multiple activities and all that. And it really is. It's small town, it is that small town feel and small town opportunities, but we also have big city dreams, and our kids are going to compete with any kids out there, guaranteed. And this community loves the school district, and they will leave no stone unturned to support us and whatever it is to provide great experiences for our kids. And I love this place.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear as a fellow educator, and I'm very excited for the future of not only Sealy ISD, but your partnership with Hartwell, and Hannah, your future, because it's going to be quite bright. And if you don't, for some reason, teaching doesn't work out, you can come take my job anytime, because you nailed it today.
Thank you.
And I want to thank all of our guests, Dr. Hallmark, Hannah, Matt. Thank you for joining us today on the Path Forward and sharing some of this innovation and this partnership with us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Produced by Podcast Architects.